fortunately bring us together, right? In life, it's crazy things happen. And I just want to tell this story real quick. I'm going to look at my notes because, May 23rd was a special day and a bad day for somebody in this room. But, to see her standing here and knowing how I know her, it's an incredible day. So around noontime that day, just to refresh your memory real quick, Kelly, and where's Gia? Kelly, Gia, and Ty. Where's Ty? Ty. And Ty enter the water. If I'm incorrect, by the way, this is the time to correct the story that we've been telling for the last couple months. So, of course, they enter the water around 9th Street area. It was a busy day. The beach was, if you saw the pictures, the beach was packed that day. Wow. Just so happens the congressman was out there actually exercising as well, back from Washington, D.C., so that's another story. And him and I are texting. There's a lot going on that day. Anyways, Kelly, Gia, and Ty actually enter the ocean. Rip currents are always normal for St. Johns County. St. Johns County Fire and Rescue, our finest, will tell you it's a normal thing here for rip currents, red flags to be flying. Anyways, they enter the water. Kelly, actually, they run into a situation there where the current's actually taking you out, correct? And Kelly actually yells to Ty, take Gia. By the way, Gia is a family friend of theirs that was actually just here visiting them. Ty, how old are you, young man? 14? 14 years old. I'm pretty good, right? I got pretty good memory. Anyways, Ty actually grabs Gia, heads into shore. He's heading to shore, running into Rod. Rod's here with his family, and I think you actually tell Rod your mom is in distress, correct? Yes, sir. So he tells Rod that his mom's in distress. Rod enters the water. By the way, he's here on vacation too as well. Just people in the right place at the right time, saving lives. It's crazy. Rod enters the water. He actually, if I'm not mistaken here, Kelly actually goes down. He actually loses sight of Kelly. She goes technically unconscious, basically. He loses her in the surf, and he takes a shot at it, basically. He dives in the surf, and lo and behold, runs into Kelly in the ocean, which is kind of crazy for 42 miles of beach here in St. Johns County. So, no, speak away, please. So if anything's wrong, please correct me. But anyways, Rod enters the water, finds Kelly, brings Kelly back to shore. On shore is Kelsey and Leanna, who happen to be two nurses, for goodness sakes, that don't know each other at the time, correct? They don't know each other at the time. They met that day. So it's destiny. All of us are meet this day. Anyways, the two ladies actually meet and they physically go to work on Kelly. And St. Johns County Fire and Rescue will tell you that the chances of surviving are slim to none. Matter of fact, usually don't happen that long being gone. And with Rod out there, the quick action by the nurses there, our St. Johns County Fire and Rescue is phenomenal. If you can bring them back to shore, they can bring it back to life. Seriously. And we know for a fact that Flagler Health Plus can bring you back to life too as well. We got our own story, one of our officers on that one. Anyways, Kelly, I'll tell you what, she's standing here to my left right here with her husband. This is how small the world is. That same day, I get a picture from Mark Cox, who is a longtime friend of mine, and he says, "Can I park here?" Basically in an illegal spot. I'm like, just park. He sends me a photo of his car, and that was an hour and 40 minutes prior to this going on. And I didn't put this all together until about a week later. I called Mark on the phone. I was like, "Is Kelly your wife, for God's sakes?" So anyway, full recovery, by the way. And I'll let her actually speak here in a minute, but full recovery, which, by the way, that's unheard of, based on what she went through. And again, I just want to take the minute just to introduce we'll call it the key players in this, and introduce your family if you don't mind. So start right here with Mark, please.
Yeah, so my wife, Kelly. Noah is not here. Noah has a travel baseball tournament. He was there at the beach with us as well. They have practice before they take off to Atlanta. Tiger right there. And then our close friends of ours. Here's Gia Iwanski, Laura Iwanski, and Jeff Iwanski, and Adeline, little one. We were all there at the beach that day. And if I can just take a few minutes, there's not a day that goes by where I don't think about what transpired. And by far, God's hand was involved with everybody who was there and assisted in the rescue of my wife that day. All the way from Ty bringing Gia in to Rod coincidentally being out there, bringing him back, and these two just phenomenal individuals. How often are there two nurses there to help? So the whole thing was a little bit surreal, but I also want to thank the first responders. Always had appreciation, and we still do, but St. Augustine Police Department, Fire Rescue, the paramedics, the lifeguards. As Rob mentioned, the folks at Flagler Health Plus, amazing. Just amazing individuals, amazing doctors. I think they were in shock as well. But most importantly, Kelly, her will to fight and live and survive. And a handful of days after that, on May 28th, we celebrated our anniversary. And that's because of you guys. So, what you guys do every single day, The purpose of this is the first responders. So from the bottom of my heart, we're ever in debt and gratitude, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you all so much. And Rob and the folks that put this on, Rob Hardwick, my friend, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone involved. So thank you very much.
Ty, we need words up here. Listen, if that's the future of our generation, some of you young people in here, we're in good hands, by the way. You know,
right.
taking that upon yourself. And Gia, of course, I'm sure you're thankful too as well. So, Rod, I want to put you on the spot too. Come on up. I want to introduce Rod. And introduce your family real quick, please.
This is my wife Andrea, and this is essentially a red flag way down the beach, but it was way down, like probably half a mile down. But because our son and the friend that we were visiting has been holed up for 2 months, we weren't going to tell them that they can't go into the water. So we just said that you can only go in for up to 50 feet. And then exactly what you said, which is when you start thinking about events and things that you would deem miracles or something that is out of the ordinary, you start thinking about the sequence of events, and the way this transpired is obviously there's some stronger force that's involved, because it's just all the way it started from Andrea telling me to go in the water to get Connor, and then when I went out to get Connor, I could tell he was trying to tell me something, but he was going underneath because of the waves, but he was attached to his boogie board, and that in itself is a different story, because all morning he was without a strap, and then miraculously we found the strap. He came up and put it on, and then when he went back out, this is what all happened. So when we got back to the shore, that's when he said, and I could tell he was out of breath, but he was trying to tell me something out there, but he couldn't get it out because he was so tired. But when we got back in, he was finally able to touch land. He said, I heard someone screaming help. I said, where? He pointed out, and that's when I saw Ty and Gia out there. So I got him in and went back out, and that's when I went out, and Ty said, please help my mother. And he looked over his shoulder, and you were in completely opposite direction. I mean, I was this way, and then you were out there, and you were double the distance. You were out to the 4th level of waves. So you know, I went out there. I did pretty much everything you're not supposed to do in a riptide, but when I saw her, I knew I needed to get her in immediately. And I mean, look, I just provided the transport. Y'all just, if I got in, just what are the chances that 2 well-capable nurses were on standby, and within 5 seconds of her hitting her back hitting the beach, they were on working on her. And even the doctors said, you know, it was the proper and good CPR that actually brought her back. So just the way these sequence of events, everything that I just described, if any of those did not happen in a timely fashion at the time that they happened, you know, we wouldn't even be standing here. But you know, I'm not one that ever seeks gratification. I get gratification from the fact that a mother is going back to her children and a wife's going back to her husband. And that's why I think in the last several months, these are the stories that you should really hear about, and that's what I would hope is the true endeavor of human spirit. So,
Thank you. We'll let you guys have the floor. I know you nurses love talking, so I'm married to one.
I'm gonna handle that.
Don't you dare.
So my name is Leanna. My family, that's my fiance, and then his parents, little brother, and my parents. But they're all the way in the back over there. Hi guys, they're a little late. And then I'm Kelsey. My husband Nick's back there, and my mother and father-in-law are there.
So please, real quick, where do you guys work at? You're both nurses.
I work at Wolfson Children's Hospital.
Okay, thank you for what you do.
And I work at MD Anderson Cancer
Okay,
Hospital.
very good. So you guys never knew each other, just met that day.
We just had a mutual friend. We were there
Okay.
together, and
Are we friends now?
I think so.
Thank you, Kelly, for another relationship. Thank you, ladies. Another profession that's really thankless. You know, again, we appreciate everything you've done. You guys have had your hands full for the last 4 or 5 months, and you got your hands full the next 4 or 5 months, hopefully. not that long. But anyways, thank you, by the way. And again, unreal that you're here and you could actually come and support this event. So you have with local government, what you're doing at Washington, D.C. And I can tell you this, there was a time back in Vietnam area where there's about 70% of our Congress in D.C. was veterans. Now it's down to 20 percentile range. So we want these veterans up in Washington, D.C. And I tell you what, we know this congressman has our back in here as public servants. And again, Congressman, thank you for coming today. I know you flew back from Washington, D.C., but thank you, and the floor is yours, sir. Thank you very much.
Man, this, thank you, Brother Keith. I'm gonna bring you on the campaign trail.
No, sir.
You weren't with us anymore. And you two, you are heroes, and all of you. I was out running that day. Congress isn't good for your health in many ways, but I was out running that day with my daughter and with my girlfriend. I live down in Sea Colony, and to the pier and back is a good 3-mile run. And I saw you being, still get emotional. You were dead. I've seen a lot of dead people. I have fought all over the world. And to stand there with my daughter and to see a mom no longer with us was really tough. And you know, it's one thing to have lost soldiers, it's one thing to have lost Green Berets in combat, but I've never had my family with me to see that, right? And what you did, and what you did, and what you did, and what we're going through right now as a nation was just really inspiring. So I kept pinging poor Chief, you know, number one, telling him, hey, your guys were on it. Your team was on it. Chief, your team was, on it. And to see, you know, I'm sitting there talking to my daughter saying, honey, she didn't make it. The odds are bad. You know, having that conversation, texting Chief the entire day. We're back at our house, and when he texted me that you had come out, that you had recovered, our whole house was like high-fiving, yelling, cheering, and we didn't even know you, right? We didn't know any of you. But as I was thinking about it and emailing back and forth with Chief, and he was trying to track everybody down that was involved because it had all happened so quickly, I said, we have to celebrate this. Like, we have to talk about this as a community, as a country. We can't just kind of let this float by. And so thank you, Lieutenant Harold, where are you?
In the back.
All right, thank you for pulling everything together and tracking everybody down and pulling everybody together. I deeply appreciate it. I think it's important for us to recognize the servant leaders in our community. I have been in many fights where it is amazing when something switches on and you find people running to the sound of gunfire, you find people running to the sound where people need help, and sometimes something switches and people, they don't respond that way. But for you both, I saw you instantly go to Kelly's aid, your training kicked in, right? It happens. And you saved her life. And that's something that you should be proud of the rest of your life. The motto of my campaign, or camouflage, or what have you, but you don't have to. You can help the elderly, inner city tutoring, national parks, Peace Corps, but you go off and serve for a while, and then you go on and get your education, or you go get a job, or what have you. But how do we get back as a country to where we get back? To where that instinct to instantly help each other rather than distance or vilify from each other is the default reaction for Americans. I think we can do it, and we can get back to that. And I just wanted to meet you, thank you, and thank everybody that was involved, not just for this incident, but what you do day in and day out. And to all of the officers here, I want you to hear from me loud and clear. Every day that you put that badge on, every day that you strap on that belt, and you put yourself between the bad guys in our community, or you put yourself out there sacrificing yourself for your fellow Americans, for your community. I appreciate you, and I've got your back. And I know with everything that we're going through, there are those that don't always step up and hold to the standards that they should. There's no one who wants them to be rooted out and moved on than all of us. But I want you to hear from me. I've got your back 24/7. Thank you, Chief, for what you do every day.
I'm very proud to give these to you, and then also a certificate of congressional recognition that we're allowed as members of Congress to give out. And in this case, this is to Rod for heroic life-saving action on May 23rd, 2020, St. Augustine Beach, Florida. And oh, there you are. There you go, sir. This is to Ty for the same thing, for your life-saving action on May 23rd, 2020, St. Augustine Beach, Florida. Sure, buddy. Look forward to seeing you in the Army. To Leanna. Oh, there you go, Leanna. And then to Kelsey, right? And to Kelsey. There we go. And here, normally, the right way to do this is with a handshake. We'll do this COVID style. There we go. There we go. And it's also a bottle opener, so it's very not for you then. Get a quick picture. Yeah.
Present you with this plaque for you and your family to remember your quick thinking and life-saving actions for your family. And if you don't go into the Army, how about the Marine Corps?
It's all right.
Rod, City of St. Augustine Beach presents this plaque to you so you and your family can remember your life-saving actions that day. Thank you so much. Great inspiration. Leanne, City of St. Augustine Beach presents you with this plaque so your family and your children can remember your life-saving actions that day. Thank you so much.
For coming down here, Chris. And
Now over. So let's give up for the heroes, right?
yeah.
Okay, before Kelly has the final word, Rutherford, I'm going to tell you another comment.
So first of all, thank you everybody for being here today. Chief, thanks for getting us all together and your team. My name's Kelly, and 6 weeks ago, I got caught in riptide, and I drowned. And my actual discharge paperwork from the hospital, my status was cardiac arrest due to drowning. How I kind of read that was, it's a miracle that you're alive. And today I'm blessed to have the opportunity to thank everybody that was a part of that day. So I am going to start with the Booth family, Rod, Andrea, Connor. I'm so grateful to all of you today for being here and what you did as a family together. It is something that I will never be able to thank you enough for. But today, again, I have the privilege to publicly thank you for Rod acting without hesitation. As you said earlier, when you looked, I was about as far out as I could be, and you didn't think twice about risking your own life to go out there and save mine. Your self-sacrifice, your courage, and your strength. I don't know if there's a whole lot of individuals out there that could have done what you did for me or had the strength to do it if they tried. It's a debt that I can never repay, and I promise you that it will never be taken for granted. There is a reason and there's a purpose, and my eyes are going to be wide open to that for the rest of my days. So thank you. Kelsey, Leanne, ladies, you're my angels. You're my angels on the beach that day. There is no doubt about it. Without you, I would not be here today. You gave me my life back, and then you also became a part of it that day. I am in awe of your gifts, your strength, and your bravery. and I know that you've been told this several times today, but I'm just gonna say it one more time. Without the quality and the dedication of the CPR that you guys gave me that day, your quick reaction time, I would not have recovered 100%. May not even be here at all. So for that, thank you. Every day. I might just be aware. So just from the bottom of my heart, you ladies will always be my angels. Ty, a baby boy, your card is blank. As Chief said earlier, we were out in the water, things got pretty scary pretty fast, and I had Gia, and I wasn't doing too well, huh, Gia? We weren't doing too well, maybe. And we kept getting sucked under. When we would come up, we would get pummeled from the surface by waves. And I just remember praying to God to just, every time, just let me hang on to this little girl. And he answered my prayers because my son looked at me and he said, "Mom, give her to me. I will get her in." And he held his hand out and he took G and he got her all the way in. All the way in. And it's one of the last things that I remember is seeing those babies make it safe. So your bravery and your strength, I am in awe of every day. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. So thank you. To all the first responders, to our awesome St. Augustine, St. Johns County first responders. You guys are rock stars. Thank you to all of you for your tireless efforts every day. Again, without your skills, your dedication for your profession in human life, I would not be up here today. I have a little side story, and I don't know if they're here today or not. I get all the names when I was in the hospital, but I had an ER nurse that was by my side when I was brought in, and when I was taken to ICU, she came to visit me and check on me, and she told me that her husband was one of the first responders that drove the ambulance to the hospital. And just their concern and just their dedication. She did not have to do that, and she asked me if she could share with her husband my status and how I was doing. So if you guys are here today, I would love to meet you, or if anybody here knows who I'm talking about. But that's just the community we have and how awesome our first responders really are. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Flagler Hospital, awesome ER experience, if you can actually say that. Special thanks to ICU. I was out of the hospital in less than 3 days. I was in ICU less than 24 hours. The care that I received there, I couldn't imagine being anywhere else and having the same results. So to the entire Flagler staff, Flagler Hospital staff, thank you. Thank you. Laura, Jeff, Gia, Adeline, you guys were by our sides that day, and I would not have wanted anybody else with us. What you guys did for my family in the hours following that accident can never be repaid. Laura, thanks to you, you have a big part of today. You, within a matter of days, were able to connect everybody. When I got home from the hospital, I had the girls' numbers, I had Rod's number. I was able to, reach out and say thank you, and that was because of you. And that was a gift that I cannot repay, so thank you.
Absolutely.
So, last but not least, just want to thank, we live in the 210 area, our community up there. was amazing. After I got home from the hospital, we had an outpouring. We had meals for weeks and weeks from friends, neighbors, my coworkers, the baseball team moms. We had flowers. It just touched my heart to know, you know, in a time like this, that your community will rise up and be there for you. It just meant a lot. So again, to everybody here today, thank you. Chief, thank you and your team for putting this together for us and giving me an opportunity to publicly say thank you.
Okay, awesome.